Have you noticed something strange lately? People don't just talk about pain anymore. They compete with it. If someone says, "I'm exhausted," someone else replies, "You think that's bad? I barely sleep." If someone talks about anxiety, another person says, "My life is way more stressful." If someone mentions a health problem, instead of empathy, they hear, "That's nothing compared to what I deal with." And somehow, this has become normal, almost like suffering has turned into a competition. And the strange part is, most people don't even realize they're doing it, because modern negativity has become deeply social. People bond over stress, connect through complaining, relate through emotional exhaustion, and slowly, misery starts feeling like personality. Think about how often conversations sound like this. "I'm so burned out." "Same." "My life is a mess." "Mine too." "I barely sleep." "I haven't slept properly in years." Nobody pauses. Nobody reflects. Nobody tries to bring calm into the conversation. The energy just keeps getting heavier. And over time, constant negativity starts feeling emotionally familiar, even comforting. But why does this happen? Why do people unconsciously compete over suffering? Part of the answer is psychological, because humans naturally want to feel seen, understood, emotionally validated, and pain often gets attention faster than peace. When someone feels ignored emotionally, their struggles can slowly become the main way they connect with others, not consciously, but emotionally. And social media made this even stronger, because modern algorithms reward emotional intensity. Outrage spreads faster than calm. Negativity spreads faster than gratitude. Drama spreads faster than peace. Internet constantly shows us stress, conflict, burnout, anger, pessimism. So, after a while, our brains start treating emotional heaviness as normal human communication. And honestly, there's another uncomfortable truth. Some people become so attached to their suffering that they stop knowing who they are without it. Their pain becomes identity, not just experience. Identity. You can see it everywhere. Someone tries to improve their life, and immediately people respond with cynicism. Someone becomes hopeful, and others call them unrealistic. Someone wants peace, and people act like calmness is weakness, because negativity has become socially familiar. And emotionally familiar things feel safe, even when they're unhealthy. Now, obviously, pain is real, stress is real, depression is real, health problems are real. This isn't about pretending life is perfect, and it's not about being positive all the time. But there's a difference between acknowledging pain and building your identity around pain. That difference changes everything, because the more you constantly repeat, "My life is terrible," "Everything is exhausting," "Nothing gets better," the more your brain starts searching for evidence to support that story. That's how perception works. Your mind pays attention to what you repeatedly emotionally reinforce. And eventually, negativity stops feeling like a reaction. It becomes your default lens. That's why some people stay emotionally stuck for years. Not because healing is impossible, but because suffering became psychologically familiar. And the brain often prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar change. There's also something else modern culture rarely talks about. Peace has become underappreciated. People admire hustle, stress, exhaustion, emotional chaos. But calmness, stillness, a healthy mind, those things rarely get social attention. Nobody proudly says, "I slept well. I had a peaceful day. My mind feels calm lately." But maybe they should, because real emotional strength is not constantly carrying chaos. Sometimes, it's learning how to stop feeding it. And this doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means not turning suffering into your entire personality, not letting negativity become the only emotional language your mind understands. Because if every conversation becomes suffering, every thought becomes suffering, every identity becomes suffering, eventually your brain forgets how to notice anything else. And honestly, I think many people today are not just mentally exhausted. They are emotionally overstimulated. Too much information, too much comparison, too much negativity, too much emotional noise. And without realizing it, people start carrying that heaviness into every conversation, every relationship, every day. So maybe the real solution isn't becoming more positive. Maybe it's becoming more aware. Aware of what you constantly consume, what you repeatedly say, what emotional energy you normalize. Because your mind slowly adapts to whatever atmosphere you live in most. You can acknowledge pain without worshiping it. You can struggle without making struggle your identity. And you can be honest about life without convincing yourself that misery is the only truth. Because peace is not weakness, calmness is not laziness, and healing is not denial. Sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do for your mind is stop turning suffering into personality. Next time someone asks how you are, try to find one thing that isn't a struggle to share. See how it changes the energy of the room. This is Betterverse. Understand your mind. Transform your life.